Right here, right now.
It's time to get totally crossed out with Brandon and Shannon. This is the only podcast where money, sports, technology, culture, and relationships cross. That's right, straight out of Indianapolis. From the 317 studios. Two brothers, real talk, right focus, right here and right now. Let's get totally crossed out with your podcast host, brothers from another mother, just trying to do it the right way, Brandon and Shannon.
Man, what is good, y'all? It's your boy B.
Yo, your boy S. Grady in the building.
And we back with another episode of Totally
Crossed Out.
Hey, man, look, I ain't even gonna waste no time, man. I'm hyped. Can you hear the smile in my voice? Can you hear it, Grady?
Hey, man, the crunk level is on 10.
On 10, man. We got my man, brother from another mother, something like Grady. My man JB is in the building. What up, JB?
Hey, what's up now? What's up, Crossed Out?
Hey,
yeah, my man.
Yeah, don't get it twisted. JB, man, we go back like 4 flat tires, man. You know what I'm saying? Way back. Bumper cars, state fair type. You know what I mean? Jay, tell them just a little something about you, man, before we start bragging on you. I'll let you get your bit out first, man.
Man, I'm a mix between sort of a wannabe hacker, someone that might start a riot, and somebody that's also a believer in Christianity. So I'm a hodgepodge of a little bit of everything.
Okay. And for y'all that don't know, I'm going to let JB be real funny. He started out with a riot. That was crazy. JB and I go back, way back, like 6th grade, man, or 7th grade. JB. And, man, really good people. Don't get it twisted. He's one of the most intelligent people I've ever met. That brother does have a doctorate, so don't get it backwards. But he is humble with his. And we've been asking questions about this life thing for a real long time. And so unlike Grady and I, Jay's still out here. So I won't say in these streets, but you're not married yet, are you, Jay? You're not married yet?
Not yet, man. We're thinking about it, though. We're thinking about it.
All right. We're gonna get into that. We're going to get into that.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
But JB, welcome, man. This hopefully will be the first of a few where we'll get you connected, man. But Grady, how you doing, bro? It's good to catch you. Episode 11. Everything good?
No doubt, man. No doubt. We in this thing, man. The kids is cool, man. They nice and satisfied, man. So a brother can get his podcast on with my brothers. So, man, I'm excited, man. I really am excited, man. We got a guest on this thing, man.
Man, listen, second best ever. And for those who you don't know, Jay, might not understand this, but you have to get windows when you get married. You know what I'm saying? So we might be T minus 28 minutes. We're going to try to get this in within a half hour because you never know when that window's going to shut, my brother. Is it just me, Grady?
Hey, come on, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
JB, it's real, man. It's real out here in these married streets.
That's why I'm thinking about it.
Hey, Jay, how's it feel to be able to do whatever you want, man?
You know, I don't realize how good I have it, man. The more you tell me about it, the more I want to be able to do whatever I want, you know? That's part of my hesitancy. I'm a little bit scared, fearful of losing my freedom. There you go.
Hey, man, it's just the two shall become one. That's all it is. We have one.
Yeah. Ain't that much more added to that, really. That's
no
all
doubt.
there is.
Well, Jay, why we got you, JB, man? What you got on your heart, man? What's on your mind, Jay? You can ask us whatever you want, man. What's on your mind? We gonna go there, Jay. This is freestyle podcast season.
Oh yeah.
What you got?
Well, since this is a Christian podcast, one of my favorite sections of the Bible dealt with wisdom. And there's this guy by the name of Solomon who had all the money in the world, didn't ask for more money, he asked for wisdom. And then he allegedly writes this Proverbs section, and there's one specific scripture that has always spoken to me. It made me
Allegedly
fearful.
wrote, though? Allegedly, though. Go ahead, though. Go ahead.
Hey, I've read different stories, but it's Proverbs 21:19. It says, better to live in the desert than with a quarrelsome and nagging wife. If you're single as a Christian, how do you assess whether the girl you're dating or courting has the potential to be a quarrelsome or nagging wife?
BP, he went right there
Hey man,
immediately.
he didn't even want to toss up a watermelon. He said, "I'm gonna bring that
Yeah.
curveball back up with a
You open
slider
the
on
door.
you."
You open the door, Your
Hey
Honor.
man,
I had no choice.
I'm gonna let you hit it first. I'm coming right back behind you, Grady, just because I'm gonna let you bless it first.
Nah, I think you just don't want to respond first, man, because it's a hard question. I think that's what that
You
is,
didn't
man.
like you didn't like how I did that. You didn't like how I did it. I'll go. It ain't
He
no
was
thing.
smooth with
Ain't
it,
no thing.
wasn't he?
We're keep it real, son.
Jay, we gonna do this. I'm gonna do this
We
on
want
the air.
bachelor still out here in 2020, man. We don't want no drama, yo.
Jay, we're gonna do this on. Look, listen, I will do this like we do offline. We're gonna do it online. How's that?
Yes,
Don't act like this
sir.
ain't the first time we done gone there. Yeah,
Raw,
yeah.
uncut footage, y'all. Raw and uncut.
Proverbs. I'm gonna take it back because this section is gonna be sponsored by Logos 8.
Yeah.
I'm Logos. Okay.
Hey,
For those of y'all who don't know,
It's sponsored
I'm in
by
the
Logos,
logos right
man.
now.
yeah. Now Logos is a really cool software program where you can kind of get context and a bunch of stuff. And I think that might have been initiated, and JB might have this in his back pocket. I'm not sure, but I think it's important when we hit these proverbs up that we know one is not doctrine. That's important. All right. So
Okay.
there's a whole slurry of things that is in here. It is basically comparing foolishness with wisdom. And without question, it was written by Solomon, the wisest man in the world. And he's given you principles by which you should consider and think about things, but it does not at all contradict what doctrine is. All
Oh
right.
man.
So that's real. So it's in a hard, fast rule. So what I'm gathering from this, to take you back to Proverbs 21 and 19,
Yeah,
we
because
talking
today's the 21st. Yeah.
yeah.
I see you working, JB. I see
There
you
we
working,
go.
man.
Okay.
That's it.
And
We on
look, that's
baby
not
food. We just
ominous.
go a day. We read the day of the month. That's how we
Okay,
do it out here.
that's good. I like that. I like that. But what you will find on that 31st day is that there is a contrast of what Proverbs 31 talks about for a woman. So that we could talk about in 19 here, in this verse 19, where they're like, look, man, if you were dating, if you were hollering at a woman who's out here always creating quarrels, or I think the NASB talks about it being a contentious, just always wanting to fight, that's probably not going to end up well for you. And if you therefore go choose for that to become the one with whom you're going to have to live with, to cleave to, you know what I mean? That's going to be something you'll have to endure, and that will just be unnecessary drama that you'll have to be, but you'll still have to love her like you would any person that you chose your wife. Now
On
take that to the
quarantine.
yeah, all of that. But my point, in that desert land, JB, you could consider yourself in a desert land now. If you dolo
Exactly.
by yourself, hey man, that's
Yep.
cool. But if you find somebody who's all right and is on that Proverbs 31 stuff, then it'll be okay. But you can't, in my opinion, okay, we can't be out here choosing and spending time with people and then just jumping in and being like, oh yeah, honeymoon stage, she's my wife and let's do it. That's why I think we need a little bit of time on our hands so that we can divide things rightly and know whether or not is she or isn't she, or she can determine whether you are or I am, you know what I mean, a contentious man or a problematic man. And so we just need time to be able to sort through all that sort of stuff. I'm gonna stop there and let my man Grady hop in. Grady, where's your mind take you on that one as you studied this thing?
Yeah, it was interesting. As I as I look at that, I can see how a cat can go ahead and take that verse and be like, you know what, man, my wife is quarrelsome, and according to this verse, man, it's better for me to live alone. So
Yep.
let me go ahead and say bon voyage, and I'm out of here. I can see a person taking this verse and say, you know what, I'm out. But no, now you're contradicting like Matthew 19:6. You know, Jesus says, man, look here, they're no longer two, but they're one flesh. Therefore, what God has put together, let no man put asunder. If you get that old school King James.
You did go
Let
asunder
no,
on him. You hit him with the asunder.
hey, what does asunder mean, man? That's just a big word. But
I
yeah,
spell that. All right.
so clearly, as you said earlier, to preface Proverbs, the whole book, I mean, it's like you said, like general guidelines, man. It's great wisdom. It's not, like you said, it's not like hardcore prescription doctrine in terms of, you know, man, it's guaranteed. This going, if you do this, kind of cause an effect. If you do this, and that's going to happen. It's not a guarantee. That's just good general principles for how we should live. Most definitely, because I mean, essentially, as you said, JB Solomon. I mean, he's writing this to his son. Dropping knowledge on him. Father's Day, right? So,
Oh yeah, bring it back. I see you. I
you know
see
what
you
I'm saying?
working. I see you working.
So, he's dropping that knowledge as a good father should. So that's what this book is about, and we too can glean a whole lot from this. But one thing we shouldn't glean is to say, you know what, man, we argue way too much. I'm about to move out there to Arizona to the desert. 'Cause it's better for me to be. It's better for me to be alone out there.
All right.
Hey, can I jump one in there too, Grady, real quick, if I
Hey,
can?
what you got?
Hey, man, in this situation, do we know if that person's married or not? So
Ah.
what you know what
It
I'm
does say
saying?
wife though, but I see what you mean though. It doesn't automatically mean they're married. So I follow
Oh,
what
is
you're
that
saying.
what are you at? Where you at? You in the ESV?
I follow what you're saying. That was a New
Yeah,
Living. I'm sorry.
I think I brought up NLT or something.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I
you
was at
know.
NOT, so that's kind of
Yeah,
a.
that's a little. They took a little jump there. I think
Yeah,
it
yeah.
truly
I
says
was just
woman.
about to say that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why we got to ask the
For
translations
those out
out.
here, there are thought for thought translations and there are word for word translations. The
Ah.
NASB and SV are word for word translations, whereby we are really looking at that thing through either the Hebrew, Aramaic, or the Greek, so we can get a real feel of what was actually being intended by the text. Whereas as we look at these thought for thoughts, that's making it a bit more readable. So we're getting, in essence, the thought that was inspired by the Lord. So when we go back to look at that true translation, it does say woman. The point I was
Yes.
trying to make was simply just to say you shouldn't be out here living with folk because you can get yourself caught up and not even know who you living with or dealing with up front. Just wanted to bring a little
Right.
practicality to that thing.
Hey, drop it in there.
JB, I'm sorry, man. So yeah, take your time. If
This is
she's
great. This is
yeah.
excellent. And to your point, I'm glad you brought up Proverbs 31 because I'm supposed to be looking for a virtuous woman as a Christian. And then, even though it's Father's Day, I get this information from the mother on 31:3, well, technically 2:3, stating, "Oh, my son, oh, son of my womb, oh, son of my vows, do not waste your strength on women, on those who ruin kings." What is strength? Is that synonymous with money, power, prestige? I guess money for property. And and was she speaking on women in general, especially the ones on Instagram and on social media? The average day Tatiana that you might see down at the club. There you go.
Hey, did they have IG back in? Is that what was going on?
2,000 years ago, I don't
Yeah,
know. It probably
is that what's
didn't.
going on?
Wow.
Yeah,
You know what, B? As you mentioned, logos and everything. I'm just kind of in here right now, man. Strength could, the original Greek that could be money. You mentioned that earlier, and that could be one of the. I'm just kind of pulling it up right here. Interesting.
yeah. When I see this one, it's probably worth going and doing a word study on that thing. If you look at the whole Proverbs 31 through 9, that first bit before they talk about what's so worthy of a person, I think this idea, if you go back through Old Testament history, of where men didn't do their positional authority, didn't do what they were supposed to be doing as the positional leader of the home. If you think about Samson and Delilah, or you think about David and what he passed over to others, or if you could kind of go back and think about even Abraham when he wasn't being
Yeah, he
obedient
was
with regard
tripping.
to what was going with his wife Sarah. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
his strength, what he knows is right, what is good, which is his. And today, his Christ-like position as head of the home. If you start giving that over and start compromising on those principles, your kingdom will fall. And
Mm.
so this idea of, it's not so much, oh, don't give your strength up, don't do anything. No. I'm supposed to give my dying breath to my wife, which I will do. But this is more about, but you don't, for example, if I know something we shouldn't do in a household, and I'm still be like, okay, yeah, but let's go ahead and do it because I want to make her happy. I'm not being responsible because, hey, Grady, when they bit the apple, or I'm sorry, the fruit in the garden, who did the Lord call for? Who did he call
Yeah.
for?
He said,
Uh-oh.
"Hey," hey, Adam, where
Yeah.
are you, homeboy?"
Come on, bro. Not what happened. Did the woman take your? No. It was his fault. And
Hmm.
kingdoms will fall, and that's where we are, what we are today, because he didn't stand up. As much as folks might want to blame Eve or do all that sort of stuff. Same way, if something happens to my house and I allowed it, that's on me. So JB, when you picking that wife of yours, you know what I mean. Make sure that you're not giving your positional authority over. You know what I mean. You're working in partnership. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
et cetera, et cetera. Because as you go through that verse, the rest of that verse, they're talking about things that he ends up forgetting his way. Be not drunk with wine, but be filled with the Spirit. they're using that analogy of drink through the rest of those verses, just to say, hey, you lost control, you lost sight of what was going on.
I got a little something to add to that, man. To your point, I like how you brought it back to some of the leaders of old. I mean, I think of how Samuel was so like easily enticed as he was essentially like compromising his values, and as a result of the women that he may have been with. And just think of Solomon as well. I mean, who wrote the majority of these proverbs? This isn't necessarily a proverb of Solomon, is a King Lemuel, but nonetheless, Solomon, man, he had a lot of babes, man, a whole lot of babes.
Yeah, he's out there. Yeah, he might as well been on IG. He
was serious. He was serious in the streets, man. But that compromised like his duties, his leadership unto the Lord. So I believe that's where King Lemuel was his mother. Essentially, this is his mother, an oracle that his mother taught him in verse 1. Said, hey, it's cool out. Don't let these women lead you astray when there's a duty that the Lord has for you. That's essentially what I get for that. So just be careful of that.
Hey, I can't help but throw this out here from episode 10. If y'all didn't check out episode 10, Shannon, check out verses 8 and 9 and tell me if those things don't mirror Micah 6 and 8. Open your mouth to the mute for the rights of all the unfortunate. Open your mouth, judge righteously, and defend the rights of the afflicted and needy. Come on, bruh.
Man,
do justice.
Some. JB, did you hear episode 8 already? Because you definitely led us right there.
Oh, really?
Picking the scripture.
No, I haven't heard
incredible.
that.
Watch
I'm just out here in the streets looking, and I'm glad you guys brought it up because y'all been out the streets, man. Y'all don't know what it's like, man. There's a shift. Oh. There's a shift among the ladies out here, man. There's a certain equivalence now that some women seem to be seeking with men. And in the garden, if I recall, God spoke to Adam. He didn't speak to Eve at any time in Genesis. I don't know, true or false. Anyhow, point is, if I go down a little bit farther, or I should say further, in Proverbs to Proverbs 31:10, and it says, "A wife of noble character, who can find? She is worth far more than rubies. Her husband has full confidence in her and lacks nothing of value," which is pretty powerful, and I would also say pretty rare. But then I also go to Ecclesiastes, another alleged Solomon byproduct, and I go to Ecclesiastes 7:28, and it says, "Which yet my soul seeks, but I find not. One man among 1,000 have I found, but a woman among all those have I not found." Potentially expressing how hard it is to find a woman of quality that's worth more than rubies. So in 2020, among COVID, bad cops, and I guess some might say modern sort of feminist ideals, where would a Christian man go to find a wife in America in 2020?
You know what? There was a movie out there that's called "Good Man Is Hard to Find." It sounds like, according to this verse, a good woman is hard to find. I see the question. Ecclesiastes 7:28.
Pretty much.
Wow. You know what? Maybe that's.
I mean, she's not on an app. She's not on IG. Where are you looking?
And perhaps maybe that's part of the challenge right there, is the looking, as opposed to just kind of letting things happen organically. And here, so for instance, I give it, not saying this is the ideal way. I'm just kind of sharing like how it happened on this end. Is I was kind of hanging out in bars and clubs, whatever, what have you. Then just got to the point where I knew that stuff was wrong. I knew I shouldn't. I was just doing foolish stuff. But anyway,
you was in the Port Wayne streets, cousin.
No, I was actually in your hometown, man. I ain't gonna blame it on Fort Wayne, man.
Okay, right on.
I'm blaming it on that town, man. but yeah, so I messed around, went to the pawn shop and got me an Xbox, and man, I found myself content on Friday and Saturday nights when I would normally go hang out. I would just play NBA Live, and I was cool. And next thing I know, went to this kind of like a professional type Christmas party or what have you, and man, there my future bride had walked in the door. And we both took little pictures. You got the picture, the background, take group pictures and whatnot. And we took separate pictures. I didn't know her at the time. But anyway, we were just waiting in line to get our pictures in. Struck up a conversation, and boom, a year and a half later, we was walking down that aisle. And I wasn't looking. I mean, it just kind of happened. So, again, as I prefaced earlier, I mean, that's definitely not the formula, but it just goes back to the original point of maybe the looking part. And I don't even know if I even properly answered that question, but I just wanted to share my story of how I met my bride, man. That's what
we need a formula. We need a formula, saying. And the formula.
You need a formula, JB?
Yeah.
We're going to have JB run into a pawn shop. JB going to go.
What's up?
JB going to the pawn shop next.
It's on Keystone, JB. It's on Keystone, man, just so you know.
Right, man. I'm going to need the definition to find if I'm supposed to find a good wife. And I'm going to need to go to Ruth 3:5, where a woman says, "I will do whatever you say," Ruth answered. So she went down to the threshing floor and did everything her mother-in-law told her to do.
Oh, ass.
And so I like to talk about how submissive, if at all, a modern-day woman should be in 2020 to her husband, and how you might assess that as a Christian bachelor running these streets. There you go.
Man, I got to go back on your other one, Jay. I'm going to come back to you in the threshing floor in just a minute.
You misinterpreted too many things, Jason. Let me go back to
let's because here, I mean, we're going to do this real quick. If we stroll back, let's just rewind this whole 19 minutes. And it seems like most of it was like, where is she? How do I find her? How do I go sort this thing out? How do I check and assess her? How do I figure out she ...
Boom.
Which is all good. I'm not saying we shouldn't be diligent. But I do, and by the way, I don't know where to go because the brother has been out the game since 01. You know what I mean? So take this with a grain of salt. But because biblical principles are forever, I think I can still say these things with some sort of confidence. And what I would take you to is Matthew 6. At the end of the day, where he's teaching us how to pray, he's teaching us how not to worry, not how to chase all sorts of other stuff, talking to us about anxiety. He says the thing that shouldn't be the priority is, where do I go find and how do I do? I need to seek first who?
Kingdom of God.
Think first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things, all the stuff that you're worried about, thinking about, etc., that's godly, will be added to you. And so when he's talking about, where do I find it? He who finds one, no, he's actually saying who actually has one is really what that is. That isn't a like encontrar, find, like I'm going to go seek out and find. That is one who has one now in their possession. And so this idea that we have anything to do with us finding it, I think it's more of how are we seeking God in a way that we are going to be then very responsible husbands. Do you know what I mean? If I get my biblical life right, we're all growing every day. Like I'm probably a little closer to the Lord. Well, probably, certainly than I was when I was married. You know what I mean? But I think there was this idea that says, hey, let me be worrying about what I need to be doing in my relationship with the Lord. And then when I'm at the grocery store or the pawn shop, or like for me, walking into a random arranged dinner, you know what I mean? Then you find the person that you end up being married. It's not me out here on the search like National Treasure I just watched with my son. You know what I mean? Like I'm out here trying to find the hidden treasure. No. Right. Yeah, anyway, I think that's important, man. So we got to kind of check ourselves too. Same way I want to get mad at, and I'm not just putting this on you, Jay, for me. Like the same way I'm like, hey, I want to get my wife, she needs to do this, she needs to do that. At the end of the day, it's really, I need to be doing better to get it to the point where then, okay, maybe she therefore will, be feeling where I'm coming from. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, it's still on me. Kind of how I look at it. All right, so what was your question, Jay? We went from the find and then to the whole, how do we check and make sure they're submissive? Is that where we are?
Yeah, well, what I'm seeing or observing from the women that I've met and women I've heard about others have met in America is, at least compared to other countries, the culture is different, such that modern women in America seem less likely to submit to a man compared to women from perhaps more paternalistic cultures overseas. And in that respect, I'm curious whether Christian men should consider going overseas to find potentially women with Christian values, like Moses did when he went to Ethiopia, or at least married an Ethiopian, with the thought that, she bought into his program. And fit the traditional roles of marriage. Should Christian men even bother with cultures that sort of encourage women to be perhaps a bit more outspoken or less submissive than dating women from other cultures that embrace more traditional gender roles?
You know what? My thought on that, I'm thankful, very thankful that God doesn't really kind of, other than just the godly values and principles that He expects women to have, and He's spoken much about that. I'm very glad that He doesn't really put any geographical parameters in terms of where they're at. I mean, more so where the heart is and their behavior, for sure, their character. From a geographical standpoint, yeah, I think there's some liberty in that, if you know what I mean. Now, I do. I know a brother. Actually, me and you, Brandon, both know a brother that he, I don't think there was anything wrong with it, but he felt it was, to your point, JB, it might be best to, venture off into another country and find a young lady, and I mean it's worked out well, and so I think there's that liberty that we can entertain in that. So if it's for the sole purpose of getting one that would submit more. That part I may have to question though, just for the sole purpose of getting one that would submit more than a woman that's in the West. So that's a good discussion, man. I mean, that's definitely that's a whole podcast episode in itself right there.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I asked that, Genesis 2:18, suggesting, then the Lord God said, it is not good for the man to be alone, which I'll ask you what that actually means. I will make a helper who is just right for him. Now, if you're a helper, it probably means you're not argumentative, right? You're not contentious. And again, trying to, I guess, connect it with what I'm reading in Proverbs or whatnot. Mm-hmm. Does that mean, I guess, a man should be doing something worth helping? Like, she really needs to be like a good team member and, follow his lead? Or is this one that's out there trying to make her own money for the man rather than taking care of one at home with the family?
Mm-hmm. My thought, Jay, on that one is really around this. Let's just go back to what was going on there, which was, God had just finished creating His crown creation, which is us. You know what I mean? And then He said, you know what? Just having a man over creation is probably not enough. And when we say helper, that's what we have. But in essence, it's really just a complement. It's like the piece that fits and matches, not like a helper as you and I think of someone when they think of, a slave worker or someone like that. You know what I mean? Like this is truly a complement of value. And so one, I think we got to be real careful to make sure we don't ever see that role as anything different than a complement. You know what I mean? We are working together. Mm-hmm. And then there's this idea of, order and purpose, this ability, I love what you said there, Grady, about there not being like geography, parameters, the same way there aren't race parameters, there aren't, there's none of that sort of stuff. So no matter where you are, these biblical principles are real. And so when we're like, it's good to find a complement, and that complement should still follow up under the same committed principles that He's established in terms of order. You know what I mean? God, the headship.
Yeah.
The man who follows the order of God, who's going to love his wife the same way he's going to sacrifice to the end of death, forgive them for what they don't know what they're doing, kind of commitment to their helpmate. The same way that she will follow because she knows he'll die for him. You know what I mean? He's doing everything that they can in their strength to protect her as the weaker vessel in essence and be patient with them. That's the sort of compliment, help. You know what I mean? And yeah, of course the dude should be about something. He should be about that God life, And if that's where it goes back to, if I'm not about that life, then I really don't deserve the scary responsibility of being a husband, That's the real intimidating factor. For me, it wasn't like it was wifey. The truth, it was like, man, am I really ready for what all this means? Like, that's real. You know what I'm saying?
Gosh. Hey, I'm glad you brought that up. As God so loved the church, and I'm curious, compared to how perhaps my grandparents came up, marriages were practically arranged. And with respect to God loving the church, I'm curious, from a Christian perspective, did that reflect more of an agape friendship kind of love, or eros romantic kind of love that perhaps media in America today associate marriages with? As in, if you're finding a wife, should it be perhaps more practical friend like we get along, or I need to feel infatuation on steroids and feel like the clouds parted when I met you in order to justify courtship and potential marriage. How much euphoria does one need to experience before, saying or concluding this relationship and or marriage is of God, we should move forward and raise a family together?
Yeah. We're going to go ahead and fast forward to the New Testament. I really like how you draw that parallel there. The Ephesians 5:25 is a very common marriage verse. Husbands love your wives as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her. And another shout out to Logos as earlier. It is referring to the agape love. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I'm on version 7, man. I don't think I got 8 yet, but it's on.
You wild, bro.
But yeah, that word for love, that Greek word is agape, for sure. It's so it is that unconditional. I mean, that is definitely how Christ loves us, and that as well, because man, we are going to have various conditions in which we may not want to love our wives. We get married, different challenges arise, and so on and so forth. But man, that's not an option.
Wait, I thought it was supposed to be perfect the entire time.
Who told you that? Where'd that come
where
from?
you hear that from?
What movie you been watching?
If it's of God, it should be smooth sailing, 100%. Man. You telling me it's not like that?
What Bible? That's that Bible neglect. That's what that is. That's what Hollywood. That's that Hollywood.
I get a guarantee that it's of God that I'm good. That there's no strife. I don't have any arguments after work, man. You mean if my peace is gonna leave me? Sorry, I'm over 30 minutes, man. This is why I didn't want to do this. My bad. No, go ahead.
Hey, no, we gonna. Hey, it's all good. We gonna keep it rolling.
Man, we have a straight real talk, man. This is the best right here. We have a
so
straight
much
real
peace
talk.
and quiet now. I need someone to help me keep that.
Totally crossed out, brother. These people out here partially crossed out, man. They think that's that partially crossed out marital situation. Yeah, that's that irreconcilable differences type.
Man,
that's what that sounds like to me.
right there.
Yeah, this just got uncomfortable, so I'm gonna go ahead and smash out. Yeah, I appreciate that. What?
Oh man. Yeah, but that's it though, JB. Yeah, no, you were thinking on the right lines, man. That agape love, man. That's how he loves us, and that's how we as husbands are expected to love our wives, man. And I think within that, the beauty is, you can also have some eros in there, man. I think there should be a physical attraction. If there isn't, then that's a challenge.
Bone of my bone.
Hey,
bone.
Yeah, man. It's a Song of Solomon for, man. There's definitely physical attraction, and that's totally fine. There should be, so,
Undefiled, my brother.
Undefiled, homeboy. Hebrews. Oh man, I'm tripping. Hebrews.
Man, if it's Song of Solomon, I'm gonna need a wild and out girl, man. I'm gonna need. How come God won't reserve a couple of them for me, yo, to choose from, yo?
This
This
dude said
guy's
a couple.
funny,
Did he say a couple? Did he say a couple?
I'm gonna get
Not
God's
one.
best. I'm just playing.
Oh my God.
He did say plural, didn't he?
Why do we
You
invite
heard
him on
that.
the
He was
show?
on his. He took that Solomon to a whole nother level.
Yeah,
he
man.
was Solomon like
Talk
for real.
about it, yo. Several hundreds. That's 700 strong, yo.
Hey, listen up. Y'all thought this was something else. Just you wait. We're going to bring back the homie JB in part 2 of this in just a half second. Jay, man, we appreciate you being on here. Grady, we're going to hit this and we're going to bring one. We're going to run it back in a little bit just to keep y'all rolling the rest of the week. We got to get something for your commute to go back home.
No, they're not. It was good knowing y'all.
For the homie JB and the homie S. Grady, man. We're going to catch y'all the next time.
Chase them clouds away. We've got no time to waste. It's a new day. It's a new day.